want to get a lot of charged moves throughout the course of the game, and if you have a type disadvantage, it's already hard, especially if those charge moves require a lot of energy.
Right, that Azumarill was much more fit as a closing Pokemon, maybe in the back of the team there. Once shields are down, coming across with those Hydro Pumps for incredible amounts of damage, but using it early on, especially when you don't have that second move, can ultimately lead to a loss in the battle.
Absolutely. So definitely a tighter matchup there. Very exciting. We've still got multiple games left for you guys. Let's take a quick look at the bracket. Nice. So I think Yamada and Mr. Masuda might be the next match. So we'll see how the loser bracket concludes before jumping back into the winners bracket to see who will be advancing on. Once again, so many games left for you guys. We've had 5 matches already up to this point. Really excited to see how it continues to go.
Yeah, very interested to see how Yamada matches up against Mr. Masuda and some of his favorite Pokemon in Psyduck and Ludicolo there. Yamada, you know, maybe might have an easier time than he did in the first round there.
Yeah, I mean, that was truly, I think, a game that could have been the finals between him and Strawberry. Really, really impressive play from both players. I loved watching their adjustments, and I think Yamada definitely a favorite to make it out of the losers bracket because he pulled off a really incredible show and was so close to winning it all. So yeah, I'm excited to see how the remainder of the matches go. I'm really excited, especially obviously for all the matches, but for those winners matches because those players have been so strong, had very dominant victories across the board in that first round, and now they're going to be matched against other players who also had a really strong start.
Right, we've seen really high levels of play from all of those players that are still remaining in the winners bracket.
Yep.
I've seen some very impressive switches, some perfectly timed switches, great shield usage, and it'll be interesting to see how that helps them in the winners bracket there.
Yep, absolutely. So excited to see what else goes on. We've seen pretty much all the Pokemon, I think, featured from all the teams right now. So I got to say, I think Linoone is my favorite out of all the things I've seen so far.
Absolutely. Even though it's down there in the losers bracket right now.
Yep.
One of the most impressive Pokemon, probably because it's so unexpected. A lot of these players maybe weren't prepared for a Pokemon like Linoone. It's definitely not as popular as things like Azumarill, Skarmory that we've seen multiples of today.
And I think that's one of the things about Go PvP. Ideally, you know, the top trainers will be able to memorize all the potential charge moves from all the potential Pokemon that you can go up against, but that's obviously so hard because there's so many Pokemon that exist in the Pokemon Go world. So, you know, it felt like Linoone was able to bait out a lot of shields in that game, especially against the Skarmory, using those not very effective Grass Knots to bait out an early shield and then getting these really good Thunders off later on. Also a move that maybe trainers weren't expecting. So I feel like there is a lot of actual merit to using Pokemon that are still really strong, but maybe aren't like that top tier bracket kind of Pokemon. Maybe just below them, but have really good type coverage and are able to do a lot.
Right, and it'll be interesting to see if Linoone becomes more popular as a result of its incredible showing here today.
Absolutely, especially having such great matchups against the Azumarill and the Skarmory. But here we go, it's going to be Yamada against Mr. Masuda, going to be the Altaria against the Lucario lead. Of course, Altaria being able to do a lot of damage with its Dragon Breath, a lot of base damage coming out immediately.
Yamada here opting not to shield against Lucario's Power-Up Punch, which does not deal very much damage at all, but that Lucario's attack is going to go up, so it's going to deal more damage throughout the rest of the battle.
Here we go, Altaria going for a charge move of its own, almost connecting with all of it, and oh my goodness. I don't think I expected a great Sky Attack to just get the knockout there.
Yeah, definitely speaks to the power of Altaria there. Next up we have Lantern on the side of Mr. Masuda. That Lantern is running Charge Beam, an electric type charge move, which is not necessarily the common choice for a quick move.
Yeah, Sky Attack though going out into the shield, so sure Yamada is content to see a shield go out there for an attack that wasn't going to do very much damage to begin with. Imagine he might want to use a shield right now that he is going to commit to that. Blocking out this Thunderbolt, taking absolutely no damage whatsoever. The Muck now in a pretty good position, of course. Yamada pulling out the switch earlier, being able to get a quick knockout onto Lucario means he has a Pokemon advantage and the shield advantage, which is so big this early on in the game. Gets an excellent Acid Spray off there as well. Shield comes out from the Lantern.
Exactly what you want to see when you're using Acid Spray, a move that does not deal very much damage at all, but even with that shield going up, Mr. Masuda's Lantern is still going to have its defense lowered, and now this Muck is just going to deal tons of damage, even just using its quick move, Poison Jab.
Really feels like the ideal position to have baited out the shields already and get the defense decrease, because now you're just getting consistent damage off across the board. This Muck will be able to get an Acid Spray off, and that will get the knockout onto Lantern. So still 3 Pokemon for Yamada here, as Mr. Masuda is down to his last one, his trusty Umbreon.
Of course, Yamada here going for another Acid Spray, able to get another defense debuff against this Umbreon.
Kind of just feels like cherry on top right now, given that Mr. Masuda is down to his last Pokemon. Yamada still has all his shields. He hasn't even revealed all his Pokemon. I mean, really just that big Sky attack against Lucario early on was pivotal. And Masuda really hasn't been able to get too many charged moves off. And while the Muk will finally go down there, still not the best position, especially with no shields left on Mr. Masuda's end. Any charge move should be able to finish it off, especially with Alteria's very strong base Dragon Breath in addition to the Sky attack.
Yeah, and you can see just how much damage that Dragon Breath is dealing now that that Umbreon has had its defense lowered. And of course, Sky attack there, plenty of damage, enough to finish.
So there it is. First game will go to Yamada, and a very impressive display of skill there. I think just overall nice play with the Altaria, really, that being the biggest one. And I think Lucario, just not a very defensive Pokemon, not able to take that Sky attack well at all.
Interesting to see Mr. Masuda not bringing his Psyduck or Ludicolo this time around. Maybe opting to try a little harder, take the competition a little more seriously now.
Yeah, I wonder how he's going to adjust in this next one, because it feels like Lucario probably isn't the best lead option. It takes so much damage, and it wasn't able to get the charge moves that it normally wants to use off. It feels like a stronger Pokemon like Lucario, you might want to conserve in the back, maybe bait out at least one shield earlier on in the game so that Lucario at least can try to get a big attack off. And that last one, though, clearly not able to take the Sky attack very well from Altaria. That's going to be, that's important damage to know as well, obviously, throughout the course of the game, being able to assess, okay, this is how much damage I can expect it to do if I'm in the same matchup next game.
Here we go, we see Yamada again leading with that trusty Altaria. Mr. Masuda maybe not feeling so great about his chances here.
Switching it up this time, so going for the Umbreon, which is at least able to take a little bit less damage than Lucario that we saw from the last one, as Altaria here going to opt for its first charge move of the game, going to be that Sky attack. Gets the excellent off there, and no shield, so a lot of damage there, but not as that much damage as something like the Lucario would have taken last time around. So Yamada making the decision not to shield here from Umbreon, going to just go for a foul play, going to do some okay damage there, but I feel like Altaria definitely has the upper hand right now.
Yes, two very defensive Pokemon here, but with Dragon Breath, that Altaria is able to deal a significant amount more damage just using its quick attack while charging up these Sky attacks.
There's another excellent attack off there. It doesn't do very much damage to the Umbreon. Umbreon is going to retaliate with an attack of its own. Are we going to see a shield this time around? Looks like no shield usage once again. Going to be that foul play, almost getting the knockout on Altaria, but of course, right now Yamada does have the shield advantage, not wanting to show these attacks because he knows they're not going to do that much damage anyway. Rather would save it for something that would take super effective damage. See the Alolan Muk and the Medicham. It's going to be the Medicham coming in. Might want to potentially block a foul play here. Let's see. Foul play comes out.
Chooses not to shield, and a good amount of damage from the foul play, and now this counter should take down Umbreon really quickly. Yamada charging up energy towards this power-up punch. Let's see what Mr. Masuda sends out next. It's Clefable.
So Clefable, you know, definitely not the worst Pokemon to be bringing in here. Power-up punch is going to, get an excellent on, definitely one of the harder animations. Going to be able to block the damage there, but still getting an attack increase. But Yamada realizes not a very good type advantage right now. Alolan Muk, definitely a way better Pokemon to bring in right now, especially with poison type attacks against this Clefable. And no shields coming out from Clefable. We'll be able to get a very strong poison type attack there. That was a potential opportunity for Mr. Masuda to maybe switch out, especially if he had something like Lucario in the back, but unfortunately not the case.
And now with no shields left on the side of Mr. Masuda, Acid Spray not necessarily the best choice of move, but Yamada here charging up towards that Sludge Wave, committing to this very powerful move that will get some damage across guaranteed. With
yeah, you really don't want to see Ludicolo there for Mr. Masuda. I mean, Muk is just so strong against everything. It has the super effective poison typing against the Ludicolo, against the Clef. And Umbreon, you know, can take attacks a little bit better, but you're only using foul play against Alolan Muk, which is dark type as well. So I feel like Mr. Masuda really had pretty much nothing there, and he needs to be able to kind of reassess his strategy because Alolan Muk is just so strong against the team composition that he's brought so far. Lucario may be a viable option. If you have Lucario in the back, you can at least switch in from a poison type attack into Lucario with that steel typing.
Right, Mr. Masuda definitely needs to make adjustments for that Alolan Muk. Yamada, of course, should be aware that Alolan Muk is one of his best Pokemon against Masuda's team composition. So we'll see how these players make adjustments heading into this next battle.
Yeah, and I feel like for Yamada, you're definitely going to want to bring the Alolan Muck again. It's just so strong. Even if Mr. Masuda makes some adjustments, it's like it has a good matchup against at least multiple Pokemon on the opposing team. So unless Mr. Masuda has given you a reason, otherwise so far he hasn't to not bring the Alolan Muck feels like a very consistent option for him.
Yeah, and with that Acid Spray, it's able to do not so much damage with Sludge Wave, but also lower a Pokemon's defense, so it has a lot of utility as well.
All right, here we go. It's going to be the Umbreon against the Altaria. This game point for Yamada. He will advance on in the loser's bracket should he win this one. Mr. Masuda needs to win the next 3 to be able to advance on. It's an excellent Sky Attack there from the Altaria. No shield, but really not any damage there from the Umbreon.
Looks like Mr. Masuda did commit the shield there.
Yeah, it just didn't display, right?
Didn't see the animation.
Yep, so 1 shield committed from both players there right now. Not a bad trade right now as both players are just using their fast moves. Another attack coming out from Mr. Masuda's end. It's, of course, going to be that foul play we've seen multiple times. Looks like there's not going to be a shield this time from the Altaria, but Altaria not really taking very much damage there. So, going for another Sky Attack of its own. Are we going to get the Excellent?
As these targets come flying in from the side of the screen, Yamada perfect on breaking those targets.
Yeah, really nice on connecting with those, but Mr. Masuda, of course, did block that. This does mean, though, now that he's committed both of his shields this early on, which means that Yamada will be able to pretty much get all the charge moves that he wants off of the remainder of this game. Foul play here will be able to get the knockout, but we saw how good Alolan Muck was, and still an excellent Pokemon. Azumarill also a great Pokemon to switch in right now. It feels like both are certainly viable, especially with 1 shield left, but it is going to be the Muck, so... Yeah, I mean, if there's no Lucario from Mr. Masuda's end, I think this Muck is really just going to be able to sweep through everything, especially with this strong charge moves.
Yeah, with no shields left on the side of Mr. Masuda. Well, Yamada's still opting for Acid Spray here. Not dealing a ton of damage, but is going to lower the Umbreon's defense. Maybe not the best choice considering how low its HP already was. Sludge Wave probably could have finished it off there. Maybe saving that Acid Spray for the next Pokemon to come in.
Either way, though, we'll be able to get the knockout on Umbreon. We'll have a lot of energy remaining and has a shield left. So Yamada is definitely in a prime position to take this game and sweep the set. Let's see what Mr. Masuda brought. It's going to be the Lantern. No Lucario coming in. Lucario would have been kind of a nice switch in against this Poison Dark-type Muck. So right now, Lantern is going to have to eat up a major, major charge move right now. Going to be the Acid Spray once again, trying to just decrease the defense. But in a game where there's no shields remaining, it makes a little bit more sense.
Setting up to deal some increased damage to this Lantern with both its quick move Poison Jab and a potential Sludge Wave, which will definitely finish it off at this point, once Yamada charges up enough energy.
Yeah, big shield there. Going to want to go for it because there is, of course, the Azumarill in the back, and Azumarill does not want to go up against Lantern. So with no shields left remaining from Mr. Masuda, this Sludge Wave should be able to do a lot of damage, if not get the knockout onto Lantern. That's exactly what happens, and he's back. It's Psyduck.
There he is.
A fan favorite returning, but look how much damage it's taking. Psyduck is just not the strongest Pokemon. Doesn't have the best stats here. Muck is going to be able to get a major, major Acid Spray off here. Not going to get the knockout, but the defense decrease should set it up for Muck or Yamada's last Pokemon to really take this one.
And here comes a charge attack from Psyduck. It looks like he's powering up a Water-type move. Aqua Tail, gonna knock out that Muck, but Psyduck, not very much HP remaining against this Azumarill, as both of these players share a laugh up on stage.
The classic tale of the 2 water types, but Azumarill being fully evolved, not really going to take too much damage here. And Psyduck's moves, unfortunately, don't have great coverage against the Azumarill to begin with. So no shields remaining here. Psyduck will be able to go for its last resort. Going to go for, looks like, the power-up punch. Actually, the cross chop, excuse me. But that does nothing against the Azumarill Fairy typing, allowing it to resist. And Yamada will take this set 3-0.
It is a cute Pokemon with a lot of personality.
It tried its best, it really did.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy that it made an appearance because if Mr. Masuda wasn't going to use it, no one else was certainly going to use it. But
absolutely.
I think we talked about this earlier. One of the cool things about Pokemon Go is the ability to use all these different Pokemon, your favorites.